Hello and welcome again to another episode of the Long Gone Loser Rock Show. Today we are going to talk about Radio Birdman. Now, I remember the night that I discovered Radio Birdman. Me and my friends are watching Rage. It's just what we did every weekend. So we'd order a pizza from a place called Da Vinci's. And by the way, Da Vinci's made the best pizzas ever. They were in Adelaide, they were in Salisbury East, and they were just awesome. Sadly, they're no longer there, but still, great pizza joint. So me and my friends would always order pizzas. We'd sit on the couch and we'd watch Rage Friday nights and Saturday nights to see what music videos that they would show and see what bands we would discover, because at this point of our lives we were kids and we were really into just discovering new music. We wanted to know about every band ever that was awesome. And I remember the music video for Aloha Stephen Dano came on the TV. I was so drawn to it. It really was something else, like to hear that at that age, and I was just blown away. Like, man, this song is so cool. I just loved the music video for it, and I thankfully was taping Rage at that time, because we would always put videos in and tape Rage just in case we saw a good video that, you know, by a band that we really liked and we wanted to, you know, keep it and go out and buy those records or whatever. So I became fixated on Radio Birdman. I had no idea that they were from the 70s. All I knew was that this song was playing and it was amazing. So I went into my favourite record store in Adelaide, which was called Thrash, Grind and Grunge. And I said to the guys, I said, look, there was this video by a band called Radio Birdman. What do I need to know? And the guy said straight away, like, you need to buy everything because they're amazing. You know, sadly they're no longer together, but they were a really good band in the 70s. And I was like, oh my God, I'll never find their records. But they were on a major label. So thankfully I was able to find, you know, their records pretty easily, except for the first 7-inch. I mean, I've never even seen a copy of that, although I do remember one time I saw Fucked Up live here at the Ding Dong Lounge, and I remember Damien, the singer of Fucked Up, was talking about how he saw a copy of the first Radio Birdman 7-inch. He saw it at Greville Street Records, and he was debating, should I buy this record, or, you know, should I send my kids to college or whatever it was. It was pretty funny, but I don't think he bought it. But I did go up and ask him. I said, hey man, where did you see that record? And he told me it was at Greville Records. And the first thing he said was, he goes, are you going to buy it? Like, you know, and I was like, no, I can't afford that sort of stuff. So, you know, I've never spent that kind of money on records. I would go and buy records like Radios Appear. And now I found this at Big Star Records in Rundle Street there. And I still remember it was $8. And I couldn't believe it. Bargain, you know. But this is back in the time when there was no Discogs and there was no real need for records except for us record nerds. Most people had gone over to CDs by this point, so I must have got this early 90s or something like that. And I got it and I was just blown away over how good it is. And then I found, obviously, Living Eyes. This is a cool album. I like this one. I don't think it gets as much praise as Radios Appear, but I love this record anyway. I think it's a great record. Now, I found this one in Adelaide, and this is a 12-inch of the Burn My Eye single. I actually think this one sounds better than the 7-inch because the grooves are spaced apart, and you know, you've got 2 songs aside on a 12-inch record. So it just sounds bigger and awesome. It's really, really cool. And I bought it for 20 bucks, so it's way cheaper than paying, you know, the ridiculous amounts of money that people are charging for the Burn My Eye single. But anyway, yeah, really cool, solid 4-tracker. If you can find this, I believe this actually came as part of a box set. There were 2 12-inches that came in the box set. This was one, and this was the other. And both of these are awesome. And I can't remember where I got this one either, but I remember it was $20 as well. So both of these cost me 20 bucks each. And yeah, both of them are worth it. This is awesome. I really like the songs on this one, especially the songs on side A, Dark Surprise. That's a killer tune and breaks my heart. And then on the B side, you got More Fun and Don't Tell the Man. This is just a really good EP. If you can find it, yeah, definitely grab a copy. I don't think it's expensive, probably not. And this one, yeah, definitely get Burn My Eye on 12-inch. I know everybody wants the 7-inch, but trust me, just get on 12-inch. It sounds way better. So I'm getting to the creme de la creme of the collection last because there's a story behind it. Here it is, Zeno Beach. Which was the last studio album I actually have of theirs. I don't know if they ever did something after this besides 7-inches and stuff, but this is a really cool record too. While it isn't 100% the original lineup, I think it's still a solid record, and I think it's worthy of praise because it is a really, really good record. This came out on Yep Rock Records, so it's really thick 180 gram vinyl too. Does it have an inner sleeve? No, it doesn't. I thought it might have had a poster or something like that. Here's a bootleg I found. Murder City Nights, and this one is limited to 500. Mine is copy 171, and I can't remember where I found this. It was somewhere in America, and it was maybe in somewhere like Pittsburgh or Cleveland or something like that. Maybe it was My Mind's Eye. Yeah, it was really cheap, and I'd never seen it before, and so I grabbed it. It's a live performance from Double J Studios. I like how it's got the Carrie Nations from Beyond the Valley of the Dolls on the back there. No relevance to the music whatsoever, but who cares? So this is on blue vinyl and has nothing written on the labels. Nothing at all. So I don't know how many other different variants there are, but this one, yeah, it says limited to 500 copies, 171, like I said. One of the cool things that they did was this band called New Race, and this was released on Citadel Records, which is a really cool label here out of Sydney. And basically it was a live concert, and it featured members of the MC5, the Stooges and Radio Birdman together on stage, which just made a lot of sense. You know, Dennis Tech grew up in Detroit and would go walking through the park and see the MC5 live. And there is this photo, which is a famous photo with Dennis Tech front row, like watching the MC5. I mean, that is amazing. You know, I would love to have been there, being able to see MC5, you know, live back then. I mean, I got to see that reunion tour they did with 3 members, but, you know, imagine seeing that. That would have been so cool. But I do have another video on the MC5 coming soon where I get into a lot more depth about my filming locations in Detroit, which I did with my friend Stephen Peterson, the photographer in Detroit. We went walking around Detroit and Ann Arbor and took a look at filming locations. So that'll be coming up very soon to the channel. So if you want to know about that and you're watching this far into the video, just like and subscribe and you'll know when that video is going to pop up. But anyway, this live record, New Race, the first and the last. You've got Ron Ashton, you've got Warwick Gilbert, you've got Dennis Tech, Dennis Thompson, and Rob Younger. Like I said, man, members of the Stooges and the MC5 and Radio Birdman together creating an incredible rock and roll ensemble. And yeah, this is a 7-inch and this is the LP. So I always thought that a poster came with this, but there's not a poster in it. So I don't know if I'm imagining that. But if there was a poster, can you let me know in the comments? Because I get a feeling a poster was supposed to come with this. For some reason, I don't have that poster, and I don't know why. And it's definitely not in here. So I always liked how Radio Birdman had their logo on the labels. I think that's really, really cool. This one was released on Big Time, and the 7-inch was released on Citadel. Very cool. But I think when I bought this, the 7-inch was tucked inside the record from memory. So they came together as a set. But it was used, and I remember it was $12. So another buy from Big Star Records. So here are the 7-inches I have. A lower Stephen Dano, which I got from All Go Go Music on one of my Melbourne trips way back in the day. You know, I was so stoked to finally find it on 7-inch because I loved this single so much, and it was the song that got me hooked on Radio Birdman. This one came out on Record Store Day, and it has them doing a cover of Alice Cooper's Ballad of Dwight Frye on the flip side, which you've got to hear because it is incredible. This again released on Citadel Music. So there you go. Very, very cool. The songs on here just appear on this one too, but I found this in Cleveland at My Mind's Eye Records. So I know I definitely got it there. I picked up 2 Radio Birdman 7-inches there, and this is the other one. So I got both of these 7-inches from My Mind's Eye in Cleveland. Very, very cool. This one was from the Rockfield Studios. There you go. And there's a track listing there. Death by the Gun EP. And there's the tracks that are on this one. Burn My Eye, 7-inch. I know everybody goes crazy over this, but like I said, the 12-inch is so much better. This is cool. This came out on a label called Steel Cage Records, and it's just a really good single of 2 great tracks. So there you go. I can't even remember when I got this. So it's not on coloured vinyl or anything like that. But yeah, I think I was sent this to review, and I was really stoked when it arrived in the mail because, you know, being a Radio Birdman fan. This one has Russell Hopkinson, who was in Nursery Crimes Cremator and is now in UMI. He plays drums on this. So there you go. You can see him sitting up the back there. But how cool is that? This one was released on Pit Shark Records. It was limited to 500 copies. It comes with a poster, which is pretty damn cool. It's of the cover artwork there. The thing that's exciting about this record is that they do a cover of Blue Oyster Cult's Hot Rails to Hell, which is awesome. I mean, it's a live single, but it's so cool because I love Blue Oyster Cult, and Radio Birdman do a fantastic version. So there you go. It's got I-94 on the B-side. There's the back cover there, and it's numbered in the corner. I don't know if you can see that number there, but there you go. This one I got from Big Star Records in McGill in Adelaide, and I remember walking into the record store and I didn't even notice it was on the wall, and I was, you know, shopping for a bunch of records, and then the guy Jeff Stevens, who owns the store, he said to me, he goes, "Oh, did you notice the Radio Birdman single on the wall?" And I turned around, I saw it up there, and I was like, oh my God, that's one that I don't have. It was a bit pricey. It was like $45 or something at the time. And I had to go away and think about it because I didn't know whether I wanted to, you know, spend another $45. I'd already spent a bunch of money that day. And then I think we went to get some lunch. And then I said to my brother, I said, no, I'm going to go get that single. And then we drove back and I bought it. So Alone in the End Zone and Breaks My Heart. There is a documentary on Radio Birdman called Descent into the Maelstrom. Here's a flyer for it. The movie was directed by a guy called Jonathan Sakira. I think that's how you pronounce your name. Sorry, Jonathan, if I got that wrong, but it's an amazing documentary. It really is. And I highly recommend, if you've never seen it, but you want a really good history on Australian music in that time, definitely check this out. This is an amazing documentary. It's so well made. The footage in there is just incredible. It tells a really good story about the band. And, you know, it doesn't hold back. So it's got warts and all, as they would say. And it is just such a well put together documentary. I was so blown away when I watched it. And I was like, man, like, more people need to see this documentary. So if you like this sort of music and you haven't seen it yet, do yourself a favor. It's out on DVD. It's worth getting. And there's a bunch of extras, I believe, like lots of live footage and stuff like that. There's the back. I don't know if you can even read everything on there, but if you can, then just press pause and you can read all that because I'm not going to hold it up for that much longer. Descent into the Maelstrom, really cool documentary. Now, sometime in 1995, I started getting letters from my friends in Sydney that I was pen paling with because, you know, we didn't have internet, so there was no emails and stuff, but we were all pen pals and stuff. And I remember getting letters from people in Sydney saying, you're not going to believe this, but I heard from so-and-so that Radio Birdman have been rehearsing. And I was like, what? That's incredible. What? Why? And there was no announcement yet of what they were going to do. But there was just, you know, rumours here and there that Radio Birdman were talking or, you know, were rehearsing. And I'm just like, oh my God. In 1996, in January, Radio Birdman reformed and played as one of the headlining bands at the Big Day Out Festival. When I say headlining, they weren't on the main stage. They were on the third stage. But they should have been on, you know, the main stage because the Radio Birdman. This was cut out from the Advertiser, which is the news that we would have in Adelaide, and this is like an interview and a write-up on Radio Birdman reforming, which I cut out and kept. And I really should get this laminated and and framed or something like that, because it's a really cool article and it's a good piece of history. So it basically just talks about them. Yeah, Birdman flies again. Radio Birdman are reforming. I went to that big day out, obviously. Thankfully, my friends in the band Screenfeeder were actually playing the show, and they, you know, will you help us roadie and stuff? And I was like, absolutely. And so that's what I did. I ended up being a roadie for them that day. Now, I've got a bunch of photos from the Radio Birdman show, which, you know, you'll see in a moment. But that big day out was awesome. You know, Elastica played. Jesus Lizard put on the most blistering performance I've ever seen any band ever do at a big day out. Rage Against the Machine played. Spiderbait, Tism, Tumbleweed maybe. I'm trying to remember. It was a long time ago. But anyway, Radio Birdman was like the excitement there for any rock and roller. I mean, granted, it was going to be hard to top Jesus Lizard's performance that day. Now, if you were at that big day out in Adelaide in 1996 and you watched the Jesus Lizard, you witnessed like history. Like, I never saw a band at the big day out since that performance put on a performance just as good as the Jesus Lizard did that day. That was an incredible performance, and I was just standing there side of stage with my mouth. I was just like, oh my God. It was the most highly energetic display of a band I've ever seen. It was just incredible. And yeah, but anyway, this is not about the Jesus Lizard. This is about Radio Birdman. You could feel the electricity in the air when we were waiting for Birdman to come on. Like, we were standing there at stage 3 and we were just so excited, and me and all my friends were there and we couldn't believe what we were about to see. So I remember Radio Birdman came on stage that day and they just absolutely blew the roof off the place. It was so incredible, and it just seemed like they were all connected. You know, there was no bad blood, that they were just all getting along, and it was just amazing from start to finish. It really was. And I was just like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm witnessing this. You know, like, this may never happen again. It was possibly one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. And luckily I had that backstage pass, because I ended up going backstage after the show and I bumped into Ron Keeley, the drummer, and I just started talking to him, and Pip Hoyle. They were both there, standing there together, and they were having a chat with somebody else, and we just started talking about music. Anyway, I pulled out my copy of Radios Appear and I got it signed by all 6 original members. This is still a holy grail for me. It's, you know, one of the prized possessions that I have, because it's pretty impossible to get all 6 in the same room at one time, but I managed to do it on the day. Just thankfully I took my record, you know, my record covers with me to get signed that day, and they were actually pretty like excited that I guess somebody had gone to that length to take a record to the big day out to get signed. So they were very stoked on it. And I remember chatting to them, you know, about, you know, Silverchair just had recently done a version, I believe it was New Race, that they had played on maybe the ARIA Awards or something like that. I asked them how they felt about that, seeing that, you know, such a young band was, you know, paying tribute to Radio Birdman. And they said that they were really flattered by it and they thought it was amazing. I believe this cutout meant that it was a promo or something like that. But either way, you know, I'm stoked to have it. You know, there you go. There's the back cover. So this is the inner sleeve. You've got the Birdman logo. And then on the other side, you've got all these cool photos and stuff. It's on the legendary Sire Records, home of the Ramones. I'm stoked to have this, and it is such an amazing record. This brings us to the end of the Radio Birdman video and my Radio Birdman collection, but I want to say thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, please look after each other, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.